One of the companies that we invested in my microcap investing service, Future Giants, they have what I've been calling the Newton battery,
Yes.
which is like a gravity gravity energy storage system, and it works very similar to hydropower, or more similarly to pumped hydro. Which
Right.
pumped hydro, for anybody out there that isn't familiar with it, is basically you have a reservoir at the bottom of a hill and a reservoir at the top of a hill. When you generate energy, you use that energy to pump the water up to the top. When you need the energy, you release it through turbines and it flows down to the bottom. You use gravity. Nobody's got a monopoly on gravity, but there are places, like you said, location is important, where there isn't access to liquid water. Where it's really cold, the water freezes. Where it's really dry, there just isn't water that you can use for that. So this company basically figured out a way to use weights instead of water.
Right.
But one of the what I'm seeing as we continue to follow this company is one of their most popular offerings, and maybe even more popular than this gravity energy storage system, is the technology that they have developed that helps you more efficiently deploy the energy that you've stored. And sort of like, okay, like now it's time to switch to the natural gas. Nope, now we need to pump this solar energy onto the grid, and they've been getting lots and lots of partnerships for that. So it's like you said, it's the efficiency of how we use the energy. Versus how we used to use it, and just get it out there.
Yeah, I love that you've been writing about the Newton battery because it is so superior to what we use today in terms of storage. And I've always kind of boggled my mind that we didn't see it sooner, because it's not like the technology we needed, like some kind of special new technology to make it happen.
No, pumped hydro has been around for decades,
Yeah.
maybe even centuries.
Oh, absolutely. So, but the great thing about the Newton battery is like, or what would you call it, Newton battery or storage?
I call it the Newton battery.
Newton battery, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's basically
But
it's not really technically a battery. It's
But that's
energy storage
the important
system.
thing, right? Because and I listen, stationary batteries are going to be a huge part of our grid and our energy economy going forward, but they still require massive amounts of resources, where the Newton battery doesn't need that.
Right.
It's a very significant cost advantage.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited to see kind of the expansion of this model.
Yeah, one of the things I thought was really cool about it, and actually something that I was talking about at the marina where I keep my boat the other weekend, is that there's a marina right down the river where basically if you have a derelict boat, something that maybe sunk, and you raised it back up and it's covered with barnacles, it's everything's been inundated by water, you just can't fix this boat.
Right.
They can take this boat and they have this huge grinder and they can run it through a fiberglass grinder, grind it all up, and then that stuff goes into building products and helps to provide filler for like concrete and things like that. And that's something that they do with the Newton battery. You don't have to use any particular thing, you just have to have something heavy. So say your wind turbine's been up for like 20 or 30 years and it needs to be replaced. Well, you can take that wind turbine and like sort of crush it up and make a Newton battery out of it.
Yeah.
And like it's just really cool, and I thought that was awesome. I love the my neighbor called it upcycling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's I mean, it's becoming more common. I think that particularly for people that are environmentally conscious and they think about these things, that's also an advantage of Newton battery too, is because, again, not just the cost factor that goes with having the resources for batteries, but mining, for cobalt or lithium or whatever it may be, even if it's done in the most responsible way, it still has an environmental burden that is much heavier than what you would find in the Newton battery.
Oh, very true.
Do you think that's gonna? I'm just curious what your thoughts on that, because I'm just wondering if there are individual countries that are looking at it like, okay, we need to meet certain environmental goals. Is this going to help us? And maybe there's support on the policy level. Have you seen that at all?
I mean, I'm sure there is some of that. I'm seeing more, just the interest in the fact that, it's something different. It can be linked to this software that helps them, really deploy the energy more efficiently. But definitely it helps, when you count the carbon footprint outside of the immediate area,
Right.
It definitely helps reduce that. And I know the Saudis want to use it. They're building this huge solar field. I think it's called the Gwar solar field or something like that. But it's going to be like the biggest solar field in the world. It's supposed to be able to generate enough power to power like 4.6 million homes.
Crazy.
And they want to use this to store the energy from it. And it's basically just this huge building with, these towers inside that the weights are stacked and
Right.
lowered and stacked and lowered. But, really cool.
Well, it's also like, and again, we were talking about this earlier, getting hassled by some environmentalists. I often say that, yeah, I mean, we can consider carbon footprints, that's fine, but there's a lot more involved here. I mean, just overall, it's pollution.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you utilize a stationary battery from a carbon footprint perspective, it's still probably going to be better than natural gas if you're using natural gas as a backup or storage.
Right.
But think about the damage you do to the soil, to the water when you mine for cobalt, for instance.
Definitely.
So again, we're looking at this Newton battery, and it's just like it's not just the carbon footprint, but it's also how is this better for our water, for our soil? I mean, arable land is a hot commodity these days because there's so little of it left.
Yeah.
So
They don't make any more of it either.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, you kind of can. We could. I mean, obviously, you could. Soil can be replenished, but it takes centuries to do that.
Yep.
I live up near a bunch of farms, and I work with some local farmers. It's something I do for a hobby. And a lot of the farmers up there, they call themselves dirt farmers because they have to make sure that their soil is healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And this one farmer I know, he's just like, this land I have, he's like, I could never part with it because the soil is so healthy. And we the way he farms is in a regenerative way that soil is still very, very valuable, So, yeah, I mean, sometimes I think we're so quick to go right for the carbon footprint or the climate change angle, which is important, but pollution is pollution,
Right, right, definitely.
So,
there's a lot more of it out
as you can
there.
see, I'm a big fan of the Newton battery.
I appreciate that. Me too. I am. And one thing that it's really good for is, storing the energy that's generated by things like wind farms and solar fields, because, as everybody likes to point out, the wind doesn't always blow, the sun doesn't always shine. That's something that they told me when I first put a solar panel on my sailboat. Was that, hey man, we've been out where we've gone a week without the sun, but the wind would blow.
Right.
And we've been out where we've been stuck in places where there was no wind, but there was lots of sun. You should have a turbine too. So they were sort of saying, but obviously, I have to have a battery bank for those things to charge so that when the sun's not shining, the wind's not blowing, and I want that energy, I can get to it.
Right.
And that's sort of where the Newton battery comes into play, is that like it can store that like you said, baseload power, or it's not really storing baseload power, it's storing that extra power so that it can supply when the base load runs out.
Right.